Hi, welcome to this video. I appreciate you taking the time to join me. In a recent episode of the U.S. Grace Force podcast, which you can click the link in the description below to go check it out, Father Richard Hammond and I interviewed Bishop Joseph Strickland. We talked to him about his thoughts regarding what's going on in the world, how other nations look at the U.S., especially in relation to the recent attempted assassination of Donald Trump. We have a responsibility to take seriously what's going on and to respond appropriately. The bishop shares some of that with us. Before we get into those comments, though, I want to encourage you to go out to brcoalition.com, brcoalition.com, link in the description, and check out our free downloads. We've got several out there, one on spiritual warfare, several on how to prepare naturally. We all need to be thinking about body, mind, and soul, how to be better prepared in this world, always. So please check out brcoalition.com for those free downloads. You can get them right away. Now I'm going to get into the first part of the bishop's comments when it comes to what's happening in our world and how other nations are looking at us.
These are critical times for the nation and for the world. And I've seen people, I've had the chance to be in Europe just recently, and people there are concerned about the United States because in a way similar to, I believe, the role of the Catholic Church is significant. Many non-Catholics here in the Tyler area have expressed real concern about what Pope Francis says and does and what's going on in the Catholic Church. And so the world looks to the church as it should. She is the mystical body of Christ. But the world looks to the United States also. Sometimes, there's great hatred sometimes for both the church and the United States, but there's also, it's like that, it is a city on a hill. It's been an ideal that has inspired so many people and inspired other nations. So people of goodwill are not gleeful to see the United States crumbling around us, that it concerns them. And I think that, so all of that has been happening over the past several years, and it's getting more and more critical.
You want to build a nation, it's held together by the little pieces as well. An enormous number of people, an enormous group of people in a civilization is affected very deeply by every individual action in that civilization. The kindness that we show to someone here and there on the street, in the parking lot, driving down the road, someone cuts you off, instead of swearing at them, just giving them some patience, letting them go. Maybe there's an emergency going on in their life. In other words, our prayers, our actions, every little piece of the puzzle plays a part in the big picture of that puzzle. So it is essential that we do realize that we are not in this alone. We are part of something much bigger than ourselves. Let's check out the next thing that the bishop says.
This assassination attempt seems to have really caused a shockwave to run through the world, certainly this nation, and made people begin to think, like you say, to think about God. And was this divine intervention that saved a man, which, we've all seen the reports, a little turn of his head the other direction, and we'd be talking about when the funeral plans are for Donald Trump. The political systems of our nation are godless and broken in too many ways. And hopefully some of these politicians it will be a wake-up call for them to recognize that, memento mori is not just some Latin phrase from the past, but remember death. I have an idea that Donald Trump is a changed man.
Yes, we all need to be thinking about the day that we die. We all will die. There's no question. We're not going to escape it. Death comes to us all. I recommend, and I try to do this myself, every day, pray for a good, holy death for yourself, for your loved ones. Pray every day, God, please, that I would be ready to go if today is the day you call me, that it would be a good, holy, peaceful death. No matter what the trial might be, car accident, sickness, something tragic, that there would still be peace in the heart, because God can do that. No matter what the gravity of the situation, God can get into the heart and bring peace at that moment. So remember your death, remember your end is a key thing we all need to be thinking about, not just politicians.
The media moves on very quickly. And, I'm glad people are still talking about what happened this Saturday. And I hope it doesn't fade quickly, because we need to really understand it. I mean, there are many questions about how this was handled, not very appropriately as far as what I saw. I mean, thankfully, we have lots of video that shows that people were saying, there's somebody on a roof with a gun, do something, long but minutes before the shooting happened. And even to me, that shows signs of goodness of people. Another thing that was pointed out, I didn't hear about people burning down buildings or setting cars on fire in protest of what happened to Donald Trump. We've seen other circumstances where people were harmed in some way and people reacted in that violence. I mean, I commend the people that were there at that rally, a frightening moment. But I would imagine most of those people turned to prayer, but they certainly didn't turn to violence, and they need to be commended for that.
I think it's fair to say that we all see that there are things in the world that look like a big tinderbox at times, ready to just go off into chaos. But there's a lot of good out there too. Let's never forget that. And let's be part of that. Where I live, you can go to the grocery store or a business here or there, and people will end your conversation with, have a blessed day, have a blessed week, God bless you. And I believe there's a lot of sincerity in a lot of those moments. That's a big part of our country too. We need to grow that. We need to stand for those principles of what is good, holy, and true. Now, yes, there are those pieces of the puzzle that look chaotic and destructive. We've seen that. We know that cities can be lit on fire when something doesn't go someone's way. And there's agenda behind some of that. There's no question about that. So we know that the battle is real. And that spiritual battle always starts at the heart of every man and woman, heart and soul, right there. This is why we need to be better prepared when it comes to spiritual warfare. We need to be better prepared when it comes to natural situations as well, food, water, shelter, and so forth. Go out to brcoalition.com. Got to encourage that. We have free downloads out there. Check that out on spiritual warfare and natural preparation. It's going to help there. Click the link in the description for that, brcoalition.com. But let's also make sure that every day we're not missing the chance to, as the bishop says in the interview, check out again the full episode of the U.S. Grace Force podcast. We need to seize this moment and recognize that a lot of people are scratching their heads and wondering, hey, is something going on here? Maybe God's trying to speak to us in some way. Well, let's do something about that. Let's cooperate with God's grace. Let's step it up. Let's get our prayer in. Make sure we're not missing a day without prayer. Let's make sure we're receiving Jesus in the Eucharist, getting a confession regularly. So devotion to Mary, the Eucharist, and confession. Those three things right there. You live a life with that kind of a diet, you're going to be in good shape. I appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me. I look forward to being with you all again in the future. God bless you. Have a blessed day.